When you're hunting for a new gaming rig, the temptation to go cheap is real. I've seen a lot of people buy those budget or cheap pre-built towers, only to end up with a machine that stalls on anything past fortnight and leaves a dent in the wallet for a replacement that could have been avoided. The question is whether you can find a middle ground that feels like a smarter buy without the gamble. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a few evenings setting up the Skytech Chronos 3, watching everything from high-octane shooters to sprawling RPG worlds, and I tried to think like the buyer who's sitting on the fence right now. The hesitation most of us feel isn't just about price, it's about the fear of buying a box that looks great on paper but turns out to be a headache once it's out of the bag. With a pre-built, you're trusting the assembler to have chosen the right balance of CPU, GPU, and cooling, and you're also trusting that the system won't need a surprise BIOS flash or a new driver scramble a week later. That's why I'm focusing on what actually happened when I powered this thing on, plugged in my peripherals, and started gaming in a real-world setup. First off, the Chronos 3 feels like a plug-and-play machine in the best sense. I connected a 144Hz monitor, a mechanical keyboard, and a headset, then hit the power button. The Windows 11 welcome screen arrived within seconds, no long waits, no where's my driver pop-ups. The system recognized the Wi-Fi network immediately, which is a nice touch because I've had pre-builts that required me to dig through Device Manager just to get online. From that moment, the experience was smooth enough that I could skip the usual first boot tweaking phase that many builders dread. Now, let's talk about who should actually consider this box. If you're a gamer who wants to dive into titles like Cyberpunk 2077 Elden Ring or Starfield at high settings and still have room for future releases, the Chronos 3 lands in a sweet spot. The RTX 5080 with its 16GB of GDDR5 memory holds its own in ray-traced environments, and the Ryzen 79800X3D, with its 3D cache architecture, delivers a noticeable bump in CPU-bound scenarios. Think large open-world crowds or complex AI. For streamers who run OBS while gaming, the extra headroom from the 32GB DDR5 kit means you won't see the dreaded frame drops when you go live. In short, anyone who wants a high-performance, ready-to-go machine without spending weeks building a custom PC will find a lot to love here. On the flip side, this isn't the right choice for a few specific groups. If you're a budget-first buyer who's comfortable swapping out a GPU later, you might end up paying a premium for a graphics card that you could have installed yourself for less. Likewise, if you're a piece-building hobbyist who enjoys the process of selecting each component, tweaking voltages, and cable management for aesthetic satisfaction, the Chronos 3's pre-assembled layout, while tidy, will feel restrictive. Finally, those who need a compact form factor for a dorm room might be disappointed. The white mesh case is a decent size, but it's not a mini ITX footprint, so you'll need a decent amount of desk space. The practical strengths show up in everyday use. In my testing, the 2TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD loaded Microsoft Flight Simulator in under a minute, and level transitions in Red Dead Redemption 2 were seamless, even after the game's massive texture streaming. That storage capacity also means you can keep a sizable game library without juggling external drives. The 850W gold-rated PSU gave me peace of mind during long marathon sessions, no random reboots when the GPU hit 300W under load. The case's front mesh, combined with the included fans, kept the CPU temps hovering in the low 70s Celsius during a 30-minute stress test, which is respectable for a 3-year-old chip like the 9800X3D. Weaknesses are subtler but still worth noting. The system ships with Windows 11 pre-installed, which is fine for most, but I noticed a few bloatware remnants that the no bloatware claim didn't completely eliminate. They were limited to a single trial antivirus and a manufacturer utility that you can dismiss, but they did add a few extra clicks at first boot. Another point is the upgrade path. While the motherboard is an X670 board, the case design makes it a bit tighter to reach the M.2 slots if you ever want to add a second SSD. It's doable with a screwdriver, but not as convenient as a more open chassis. Lastly, the price point is higher than a comparable DIY build, so if you're razor-thin on cash, you'll need to weigh the convenience against that premium. From a value perspective, the headline specs Ryzen 79800X3D, RTX 5080, 32GB DDR5, 2TB Gen 4 SSD are impressive, but the real worth comes from the time saved. You skip the BIOS flash, the cable management nightmare, and the endless forum threads about why won't my GPU run at full speed. The machine is ready for 1440p Ultra settings today and can comfortably step into 4K territory with a